Well, welcome to the garage. The No Books Garage, a late night edition. Trying to figure out where I need to look. There we go. Well, this is going to be a little bit interesting. Take a look at this mess over here. 2016 Nissan Maxima. The problem, an alternator. To get the alternator out. This is the carnage that ensued just to remove the alternator. So this is the, Lord, I want to curse out an engineer day. But I'm not going to expend 7 words just to get that out of the car. I've got front wheel drive trans, that way easier than this job. But got it done. This is a little bit different. Today, I have been, how can I put it? Let's see. I've been thinking about this. Recently, I have been brokering for a good friend of mine who is not particularly tech savvy a stash of his car parts, high performance car parts, everything from rear end to traction bars to intake manifolds. Now, I have listed these on Facebook Marketplace, and for what seemed like an inordinate amount of time, they more or less sat there without people responding to it. Then, all of a sudden, people began to respond. Not only did they begin to respond, I mean with more than just the usual, is this available? No, people responded with, will you take this much? Or, I want that. And pretty soon, after months of listing, these parts started moving. Now, 2 things happened. I made a little bit of cash for myself, and more importantly, I moved some parts. Now, the amazing thing, or not so amazing things, is this is a bit of a niche market, if you will. People that were building particular cars that needed particular parts that are currently readily available at really exorbitant prices. And if you're in this game, you know what I'm speaking of. What I'm discovering in this quest to move items from one garage to another is that Facebook Marketplace and other online selling places might just become your newest outlet for quality parts for your particular car. And not saying that it's going to completely negate the retailers. They have their spaces and their places, and many times they have their needs for whatever it is that you're working on. But what I've discovered is, in time, these items move and move quickly, very quickly. Now, I'm not here to tell you some secrets and tricks to how to get past, the scammers and the tire kickers and things of that nature. You're going to have them when you're dealing with things like Facebook Marketplace and, dare I say, Craigslist, which I haven't used in quite some time, but it's still out there. I'm sure there are many people who have had stories about this particular type of commerce, second-hand commerce. But what I'm finding and what I'm discovering is when people find a need for the particular items that you have, they will buy. And they will buy quickly. And they're willing to pay the money for quality parts. A lot of these items were not just bone stock. Some of them were. Some of them were specialty pieces, like a BOP 12-volt rear end. It wasn't a posi though, but still, nonetheless, a guy building a really slick GTO bought that rear end from us, and was quite happy with it. Quite happy with it, much to my delight and of course my friend's delight, because we moved apart and made a little bit of money. And people got the things that they needed to keep their projects alive and keep their projects going. The other thing that happened is these same people that bought these items from us actually became friends. I've literally kept the numbers of in this case, guys, and I met a couple of their wives and everything, that purchased the items from us, and we actually stay in contact, texting back and forth. I've talked to a couple of them over the telephone, and in fact, anybody familiar with the movie 6 Degrees of Separation? Between any two people, there are fewer than 6 people between them. In this case, the last 5 items that I sold, with the exception of the last one that I sold and delivered to a couple in Huntsville, Alabama. Yeah, I delivered. But the last 4 guys that bought locally, as we talked about the projects and our interests, we discovered that we knew some of the same people, hung out at the same drag strip. And in one case, when I saw this one fellow's hat, I said, "Promise Breaker, Perky Douglas." He said, "That's my dad." I'm like, get out of here. Small world, right? But this is really about urging you to not blow off Facebook Marketplace and other places like that. One of the greatest things about it is when you are buying and or selling, you can look up the profile of the individual that's responding to your ad, or whose ad that you're responding to, and you can actually vet them. I did that when I bought, the previous video when I talked about doing the engine on the S10. I bought that from a fellow up in Kentucky, and as we talked, we knew some of the same people from drag racing right down here in Nashville. So it made for a great symbiotic relationship, one that you did not mind paying the ask for price for that item, just as I discovered that a lot of these people were willing to pay the prices that we were asking for the item, because they knew, number one, these were quality pieces. Number two, you're not going to find these things new at these prices. Number three, parts are still readily available for them, and they're out there. And they're cheaper than buying direct and new. Now, if you got it like that, that's great. So, what can you say about it? It's likely that in this time that we're in right now, with tariffs coming in, with substandard parts out there on part store shelves, and even from mail order companies, that this might be a solution for you to get your project going, to get your project rolling, to get your project finished. Don't be afraid to give it a try. Don't be afraid to deal with the people, because I found out that there are a lot of good people out there, and they are interested in some of the same things that I'm interested in. Give it a try instead of sitting there perusing catalogs and having dates a month out, 3 weeks out. Give the online sellers, the marketplace, the private sellers, an opportunity to help you get your car going, or your truck, or your motorcycle, or your boat, or maybe even your airplane. What can you say? It is a great alternative. Quality parts, good prices, and availability. But let me caution you, if you got the money and you see the part, go ahead and jump on it. But do that after you vet that person that's on there. So that's my little quick tip for today as I contemplate cussing out engineers that created this monstrosity just to replace that alternator. Willie for the No Bucks Garage. Like, share, subscribe. See you soon.